right. So as we're going through our exercises today, remember to do everything in a way that's pain-free. You don't have to do anything that causes pain. You can modify the amount that you're moving to do a smaller movement if you have discomfort, and make sure that you're doing everything that you feel safe or comfortable doing. You can modify it to do it sitting or with support, holding on to something if you feel like you're not balanced enough the way that I'm showing it. Everything is modifiable. So let's come to the front of our chairs and bring our posture up tall. Let's start with some neck circles. So nice and slow. And let's circle in the front. So instead of doing a full rotation, let's kind of circle side to side in the front. Keep your posture up tall, but just letting your head roll side to side. If you feel a spot that feels stiff, you can hold it there. Each time trying to push a little bit further, feeling a little bit more of a stretch. We'll do about 3 more times to each side. Nice and slow, and 1 more. So now let's do it from the back. So with your head extended up or behind you, we'll do a neck roll there. So rolling to one side and then to the other. It's okay if you feel stiffness. It's okay if you feel a stretch. It's okay if you feel some cracking or hear some cracking sounds. Those are all okay. Nice and slow, just sticking side to side on that back part. We'll do about 3 more to each side. 1, 2, and 3. Keeping your posture tall. Let's do 10 rows. So elbows are straight out in front of you, or your arms are straight out in front of you. My shoulders are down, and I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades back like this. Keep my fingers wide, and you can clench your fists as you come back, and then just make sure you open your fingers wide in the front again. Let's do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, let's move into some arm circles. So we'll kind of start in a medium range, about this big. Starting with forward, I'm keeping my fingers wide. Try to keep your elbows straight. Let's do 5 more forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch to backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's make them really big, as wide as you can make your arms. 5 times forward, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch to backwards. 1, 2, as wide as you can make your arms. 3, 4, and keep your fingers wide, and 5. All right, let's move into some of our LSV2 moves. So we'll start with reaching overhead with wide fingers, out in front of you like you're leaning forward, down towards the ground, and then squeezing your shoulder blades back. Let's cycle through that 10 times together. So reach up, big reach forward, down towards the ground, and back. That's 2, up, out, down, and back. 3, up, out, down, and back. 4, up, out, down, and back. 5, up, out, down, and back. 6, up, out, down, and back. 7, up, out, down, and back. 8, up, out, down, and back. 9, one more, up, out, down, and back. 10. All right, we're gonna move into our twist. So start with one arm out to the side. Again, your fingers wide, and then you wanna twist across and twist with your body. And I wanna bring my front leg so that it's pointing down as I twist. So that I'm rotating my whole body. Let's do 10 on this side and then we'll switch. Try to keep your posture tall and your fingers wide as you twist. 1, open, 2, open, 3, open, 4, open, 5, open, 6, open, 7, open, 8, open, 9, open, and 10. Go ahead and switch arms. So other arm out to the side, my posture is tall. Let's twist. 1, open, 2, open, 3, open, 4, open, 5, open, 6, open, 7, open, 8, open, 9, open, 10. All right, last one we'll do a big stretch overhead. And bring your arms back down. Let's do 5 of those. Inhale as you reach up. Exhale, arms come down. Inhale, arms up, look up at your fingertips, fingers wide. Exhale as your arms come down. We'll do 3 more. Inhale, look up. Exhale, down. 2 more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. So I structured our intervals today so that we're doing 2 exercises that we're alternating between. My focus today is on strength, and then we'll finish with some flexibility and balance at the end. So I'll show you our first 2 exercises. And the first one that we're going to do is a hip hinge. It is to work on our posture and glute strength. And it is important to make sure that your hips are doing the motion, not your back. So I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit and try a couple with me to kind of feel it out. You can hold on with a hand if you need to. I'm going to show sideways because I'm bending just at my hips. It's like I'm hinging at my hips so that my hips go back, and then I'm squeezing my glute muscles to come back up straight. So I'm not just bending forward at my back like that so that my back is doing the work, but all of my power is coming from my hips. My knees are staying relatively straight. They can bend a little bit, but it's not a squat where my knees are bending, but it's more of a hinge here. So I'm tipping my hips back, keeping my back flat. Make sure your back is flat as you tip, and then squeeze your hips to come back up. So try a couple of those with me. My back stays flat, your hips go back, and then squeeze your glute muscles to come back up straight. That looks good. Just make sure that your back is staying flat with it. So this is a good one after you get the movement down to add weight to. If you've done this move before and you feel comfortable with how your glutes are doing the motion and it's not coming from your back, you can go a little bit heavier with your weights. If this is new to you, you may want to start with a lower weight to make sure that you're getting the movement down first. And you can, like I said, you can hold on with one hand, or you can hold weights in your hand as you stick your hips back and then you squeeze your glutes to come back up. So that's our first exercise. If while you're doing it, you're feeling a pulling in your low back, you're probably letting your low back do too much of it. You're not letting your glutes or your hips do enough. So things you can modify are bracing your core, drawing your belly button towards your spine, and really trying to focus on keeping your back flat. So maybe if you're feeling it here, you just don't go down as far, that you're sticking your hips back as your back stays flat and then coming back up. So like I said, if it's new to you, start a little bit lighter with the weights. Like I mentioned at the top of the class, if you have lighter and heavier weights available, we'll use both today. If you feel comfortable with this move, done it before, it makes sense, you feel it in your hips, you feel like your body can figure out what it's doing, you can go a little heavier with it. And then our second one is going to be a bent over row. So there's a couple positions you can get in for this. You can either lean over at your couch, and with your weight, you're just squeezing your elbow back like we did the row and sitting. Now you're just bent over, so you're working against gravity. Or you can get down onto your knee and do it from a kneeling position. So you can do either. You can do it in standing, leaning over your chair, or you can do it kneeling with one knee up. So those are our two moves. We're going to do 2 rounds through both of them, and then we'll take a break. 1 minute of work and 30 seconds to rest and transition between them. So we're going to start with that deadlift or that hip hinge. I'm going to continue to show you from the sideways perspective so that you can really see how flat my back is, because that is the key to it, that your belly button stays braced, your back stays flat, and it's really just your hips that are moving backward and squeezing to come up. So let's get started. Come join me in standing if you haven't yet. 1 minute of work here. So I'm tipping my hips back, squeezing my hips to come back up. 1 minute of work. Should really just feel it in your hips. You should not at all feel it in your back. Back stays flat and doesn't have much motion in it. If that feels good to you and you feel, you can go a little bit heavier with the weights. But if you feel your back pulling, drop your weights down or don't go as far with the motion. Hips go back and you squeeze to come up. So it's all done at your hips. You can see that my knees are staying relatively straight. I'm not doing a squat. I'm not bending my knees. And you can even do this holding on with one hand and just using one weight. This is a great way to get started with it too. We have about 10 seconds left. We're going to have one more time to practice that. All right. So now we're going to transition to the bent over row. Your options are to do it kneeling or leaning onto your table and rowing back with one arm. This is also one you can go a little bit heavier with. If you have heavier options for a weight. So a good weight to use would be like 5 to 10 pounds. Somewhere in there would be a good challenge. But if this is new to you, you can always start lighter and work your way up. Let's get started. 1 minute of work here. You don't have to be kneeling. You can just do it leaning over as well. Up to you. Everyone looks great with that. And as we do strength exercises today, slower is better than some of the cardio exercises that I encourage you to go faster with. Anytime we're doing strength, you want to do slow and controlled, makes your muscles work harder. Those look great. 30 seconds left. We're going to stick to the same arm if you can. If your arm is getting pooped and you need a switch, you can. Looks good. Keep pulling, keep your posture tight and braced so that even though we're bent over or leaning forward, our posture muscles are still engaged and still working. 5 seconds left. All right, so let's come back up to standing or back to a tall position. We're going to get started with in 20 seconds with that hip hinge movement again. So like we've been talking about, all the motions coming from your hips, your back should not bend. A great way to get started with it is holding on with one hand to give you support, and it's really just your hips tipping back and then pushing forward. Still have a couple seconds to get ready. And let's begin. Squeeze your hips. So all the strength is coming from your hips, tipping your hips back, squeeze your hips to come forward. You guys look great with that. Make sure that you're keeping your belly button tight towards your spine. Nice job. So this is really strengthening our glute muscles. These are our big power movers when we're getting up from the chair, getting up from a low surface. We want to keep them strong. We want to keep them so that they're quick to fire and quick to turn on. You're more than halfway done. Ten seconds left. Nice job, everybody. All right, let's rest. Let's get back into that position for the bent over row, either leaning on your chair or your couch, or you can do it kneeling. I'm gonna kneel so you can see me here, and I'm gonna switch arms. If that felt relatively easy for you last time, you can try to go a little bit heavier in your weight. A good weight to start with is probably 3, but if you're familiar with this exercise or it feels easy, you can work your way up to 5 or 8 pounds. That would be a good challenge. And let's get started. So notice that I'm keeping my shoulders upright and square. I'm not slumped over. I'm still trying to keep my posture tall, even though I'm bent forward. Looks good. So if you switched arms last time, go ahead and switch. We're at that halfway mark. But if you stuck to one arm last time, keep to this opposite side. Looks good. 15 more seconds. And rest. You can come back up to a tall position, grab some water if you need to. We have another couple exercises we're going to move on to. So I'll start to explain these. So we're going to build on the 2 moves that we did in the last exercise. I'll show you. So we're going to add that deadlift or that hip hinge. And when I'm in this position, I'm going to do the row, the move we just did, and then I'm going to come back up to standing. So I'm combining those 2 moves. And when you're in that hip hinge position, you want to make sure that your core is tight, that you're bracing through your core. And you can do it with one hand holding on and using one arm to row, or you can use your weight in both hands to use both arms together. Tip at the hips, squeeze your shoulder blades back, and then squeeze your hips to come up tall. I'll show you from the side so that you can see how my back stays flat in this position. And I squeeze my hips to come forward. That looks good. So that's our first move. And our second move is going to be a squat with a forward press. So as I squat, I'm going to reach my arms out in front of me and then come back up. So different than the hip hinge where my knees were staying relatively straight. With our squat, we're going to let our knees bend as we sit our hips down. That's the difference between the 2. So I would say whatever weight you were using for the row would be a good weight to use for the first one, and start with a lighter weight for the squat and press. And if that feels pretty easy the second time around, you can go a little bit heavier. So let's get ready and standing. We'll do the same format, 1 minute on and 30 seconds off. We'll do 2 rounds through. So go ahead and grab your weights and get ready. I'm going to show the option holding on with one hand for the first time around, but you can use weights in both hands if you're not going to hold on to your chair. Let's begin. So tip your hips back, elbow comes back, and squeeze your hips to stand. Tip down, row, squeeze hips to come forward. Remember, my back stays really flat as I do this. That's the important part of this. We have to protect your back. If you're feeling pressure in that low back, don't go down as far, and think about squeezing your hips more to come back up. You guys are looking good. We're halfway done. So we are using all of our posture muscles doing this exercise, keeping the back of our body strong. Looking good, 5 seconds left. All right, so we're moving on to that squat and press next. With this one, we are gonna sit our hips back so that our knees bend as the weight comes out and comes back up. You can always use one hand to hold on as you squat. So 15 seconds to get ready and transition to the next one. You can take a break right now. All right, let's begin. Squat and press your arms out. Back up tall. Think about keeping that posture up tall. So even while you're squatting, I should be able to read words that were on the front of your chest so that you're not bending over, but your chest is staying up tall. This looks good. You're halfway done. Nice job, everybody. We have one more round of each of these exercises. 15 seconds to go. Three, 2, and 1. All right, let's take a rest. 30 seconds to transition and start back with the bent over row, that hip hinge row, so that where you're tipping forward, rowing back, either with 1 or 2 arms, and then coming back to standing. I'm gonna switch sides since I was holding on with one hand. So if you were holding on with one hand, make sure you're switching sides so that you're holding on with your other hand. If you're not holding on, try the weight in both hands. Let's begin. Tip at your hips, elbow comes to the back, and squeeze your hips to stand. Keep your back flat as you do that hip hinge, and keep your belly button tucked towards your spine, so bracing through your core. Looking good. We are halfway done. Hip hinge back, elbow comes back, and squeeze your hips to push forward. Looks good, 10 seconds left. All right, and rest. 30 seconds to rest and transition. We're going back to the squat and press. You can modify it and just do a squat holding on with 1 or 2 hands, or you can add the press. If it felt easy, try to go up in your weight. If it felt challenging or put some pressure on your back, try to go lower in the weight. Modify it so that it's comfortable for you. About 3 seconds to get ready. All right, let's begin. Hips go back to squat, weight comes out forward. Looks good. Nice job, everybody. We'll take a break after this. Nicely done, more than halfway. $15 seconds left. Three, 2, and 1. Great job. Grab some water, take a break. We have one more round of strength exercises. So I'll let everyone catch their breath for a second. Nice job with those. So the next two we are going to be doing on the floor. So if you have a yoga mat, go ahead and get that out and ready. But you don't have to do that yet. You can still take your break. And I'll make sure that I'm showing options staying in the chair if you are not comfortable coming onto the ground. But I do recommend, if you are not trying them with us today, give these two exercises a try laying in your bed. It's a good place to practice them as well. So I'm going to show the two seated versions for those of you who are going to stay in your chair before I come down to the ground. So the two for sitting, again, we're going to do two exercises. One is for our hips and one is for our shoulders and upper back strength. So we're going to be doing a version of a bridge. So if you are staying in your chair, what I want you to do when we're doing the bridge is doing a glute set. So while you're sitting, tightening your bottom muscles, squeezing and holding for a couple of seconds, and then relaxing. So it's a glute set. We're just holding that muscle contraction, squeezing our bottom muscles, holding, and then relaxing. So that's the first move that if you're staying in your chair, you can do while we're doing the bridge. The second one we're doing is, I call a field goal. So what you can do if you're sitting is raise your arms overhead, bring your elbows down as you squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then your arms come up, and then you can bring them back down. So bring them up in front of you, squeeze your shoulder blades down towards your spine, back up, and then back down. So that's your move. Those are your two moves if you're sitting in your chair. If you are going to join me on the ground, let's make our way down to our mats. And we'll get set up for those two exercises. So the first one we're going to do is a bridge. So with a bridge, with a standard bridge, both knees are bent and you're lifting your hips up off the mat. I want you to try a single leg bridge today. So where one leg is straight out, it's kind of at the same level as this knee, so that I'm just pushing through one leg to bridge up and down. It's a little bit harder. And even if you can't lift very high, I'll bring my mic down. Even if you can't lift very high, see if you can even squeeze those muscles with the one leg. If that's too challenging, you can use the two legs. The second exercise is going to be on our stomachs. And there's a couple versions of this too. So I'm going to start with my arms out in front of me. And so just as I was instructing in sitting, first I'm going to lift my arms up, squeeze my shoulder blades down, arms come back up, and then they come down. So arms come up, shoulder blades come down as your elbows come down, back up, arms come down. So that's our move. If that is too hard to lift your arms from here, you can start in this position where your elbows are bent at your sides and lift your elbows up from the ground in this position. So that's your modification if it's too challenging to lift from up here. We're still working on the same muscles, just an easier version. So we'll do 2 rounds with the bridge. If you're doing it on one leg, I'll tell you when we're halfway and we'll switch. If you're sitting, remember you're going to do that glute set. So let's get ready. We have 1 minute of work, 2 rounds through. And here we go. Let's get started. So single leg bridge. I'll tell you when we're at 30 seconds and we'll switch. Nice job. Ten more seconds, then we'll switch. Keep pushing. All right, let's switch legs. Halfway done. This is meant to feel like a challenge. Do as many as you can with one leg, and you can always switch to two if you need to. Ten more seconds. All right, and rest. Let's roll over onto our stomachs and get set up for this exercise. You have about 20 seconds before we'll start. Again, we'll do a minute of the exercise and then rotate one more time through each of those. So arms are straight out in front of you or a little bit to the side, like in a Y position. And let's get started. You'll lift, draw your elbows down, squeezing your shoulder blades, back up, and then down. Arms come up, squeeze your elbows down, arms come back up, and shoulders down. Looks good. Nice job, everybody. Halfway done, keep pushing. You have 15 seconds left. Make sure you're squeezing your shoulder blades as your elbows come down. 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Roll back over. We're moving back to the bridges, or if you're seated, the glute sets. If you can, we're going to do one leg. You have about 15 seconds to get ready. One more time through each of these, and we're done with our strength circuits today. So go ahead and get set up, one leg up, and let's begin. I'll tell you when we're halfway, and you can switch. Do as many as you can with just the one leg. Nice job. Five more seconds, then we'll switch. All right, switch sides. Notice if one side feels harder, if one glute feels a little bit weaker. Nice job, 10 seconds left. All right, nicely done. Roll back onto your stomach. Final strength exercise here. About 20 seconds to get ready. Arms are gonna start out in front of you, or even kind of in a Y position. All right, let's begin. Lift up, elbows come down, shoulder blades come together, back up and down. We're working all of our posture muscles that will help us stand up taller and maintain our posture when we're walking, when we're standing. Halfway done. Good job, 15 seconds left. And rest. Nicely done. So our next exercise that we're going to move on to is down on the mat. So if you're comfortable here, you can stay down. If you want to get up and grab some water, you're welcome to do that. We're going to set up for our power moves on all fours, but I'll remind you of all the power moves and sitting if you want to stay in your chair. But grab some water and take a break. Nice job with all those exercises. And when you're ready, you can make your way up into this tabletop all four position. That's where we'll get started, but I'll give everyone another minute or two. Let's meet back on all fours in 45 seconds. A great modification for some of these too is like in front of a chair or in front of your couch where you can put your hands up here. If it's a little bit too hard to balance with a couple of these, it's a great modification. A couple more seconds, then we'll get started. All right, so our first move that we're going to get started with is our power up. So doing a small elbow bend and then a lot of intensity as you push up to squeeze your shoulder blades together. If you're sitting in your chair, you're going to do the same thing, bending forward onto your thighs and then squeezing your shoulder blades back. So that's our move. Like I said, you can modify it and kneel in front of your chair, in front of your couch, so that you're only bending from here. It's a great way to give you a little bit more support, especially if you have trouble coming from here back down. It's a great way you can try it. So let's do 10 of these in a row. Let's count up by threes as we do them. Ready? So come down, 3, down, 6, down, 9, down, 12, down, 15, down, 18, down, 21, down, 24, down, 27, and down, 30. All right, next we're moving into our power rock. So if you're seated in your chair, for this one, you're gonna reach up and across. So like across your body, arm comes across, yep, leaning to the side, and then switching sides, reaching across, and you can even straighten that leg out, that same arm, same leg. If you're on all fours, this is our power rock here where you're stretching back into that child's pose, and then my elbows stay straight as I rock forward and push my hips down. So the common mistake that people will make is bending here. Try to keep your elbows straight. So we'll do 10 here. Let's count backwards by twos, starting at 20. So we'll finish at 2. So rock back, come forward, 20. Rock back, 18. Rock back, 16. Rock back, 14. Rock back, 12. Rock back, 10. Rock back, 8. Rock back, 6. rock back, 4, one more, rock back, 2. All right, moving into our twist. So if you're on all fours for this one, reaching up and looking up at your hand, and then tucking that arm through, pushing your shoulder down. And I will have us switch and go side to side with this one. If you're seated, you're doing your power twist with your arms wide and then turning to clap, opening wide and to reset, and then twisting to the other direction. So let's do 10 of these together. Let's count up by 10s. Ready? So let's reach up or open wide and twist. 10. Switch sides. Open, look up at your hand. 20. Open, look up, follow your eyes. 30. Reach up, head follows your arm, eyes look up. 40. Reach up. 50. Reach up. 60. Reach up. 70. Reach up. 80. Reach up. 90. Reach up. 100. All right. Next, we're moving into our power step. So on all fours, taking a big step forward and stretching your arms back, and then switching to the other side. This is a great modification to do with your arms next to your chair. If you have trouble bringing your leg through, you can hold on and step from here. That'll give you a lot of support. Or if you're seated, you want to step your leg out to the side and step your leg in if you're seated in your chair. Taking that big step out and big step in if you're seated. So let's do 10 of these together. And let's count up by 5s. Ready? Step 5 and switch legs. Step 10. Step 15. Step 20. Step 25. Step 30. Step 35. Step 40. Step 45. Last one. Step 50. All right, let's come back up to standing. You can grab a drink and sit down. And we're going to finish with some standing balance. But take your time to grab some water. And when you're ready, join me in standing. We'll do a few moves here, kind of behind our chair, so we have a little bit of something to hold on to. And these balance exercises are all great ones you can do at your kitchen counter, at your bathroom sink, where you have something to hold on to. But take another minute if you're still grabbing some water. So we're going to do a few different variations of our balance exercises, and we're going to vary our stance, which will challenge our balance. So the more that we bring our feet together, the harder it is, and the more we vary it with one foot in front, it adds a little bit of a challenge. If you feel the wiggle in your ankle, that's good. We're trying to strengthen your ankle's ability to stay stable. So that's okay. And it's even good to feel a little bit of a wiggle. It means that it's challenging. So we're going to start with either one foot slightly in front or all the way heel to toe. I'll show you on my foot. See what I mean? So you can either be with one foot slightly in front or all the way heel to toe like this. It'll be easier if you're kind of on the side like this. You can find a spot where you can hold your balance but still stay stable. If this is too hard, bring one foot out in front like that and hold it there. And while we're doing that, you can grab one of your weights. So holding this balance position, I want to do a twist, side to side, keeping your feet stable. You can do it without weight. You can do it holding on with one hand or just kind of hovering your hand above the chair. Let's do 10 turns and then we'll switch and put the other foot in front. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's switch and bring the other foot in front, the other foot forward, and 10 more turns. Posture stays up tall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, set your weight down. So now I want you to bring your feet together so they're touching, and you can keep a little bit of pressure on the back of your chair while we do this. So feet are together. I'm going to set my hand here so that I'm holding on with just my fingertips. If you're not holding on, I want you at least to hover your hand right above the chair because we're going to practice balance with our eyes closed. So you can leave your hand there the whole time with a little bit of pressure to make sure you know where you are. Or if you are going to lift your hand, at least hover it there so you can touch down as you need to. So we're going to do a couple rounds of a 10-second count with our eyes closed. So feet are together. Go ahead and close your eyes and we're going to count to 10. So close your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Open your eyes, reset. And we'll repeat that again. So feet are together. Go ahead and close your eyes. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, open your eyes. We're going to transition to standing on one foot. So lifting one foot in the air, you can keep your fingertips touching on the chair, or again, just hover your hand if you feel comfortable. And we'll do a 20-second count on each foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, switch feet. Think about keeping your posture up tall and drawing your belly button towards your spine. So bracing through your core, it's going to help you balance easier. So now on the other foot, you can keep your hands here or you can let go. Let's count to 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, so let's go to a stride position where one foot is out in front and the other is behind you. I'll just give you a quick scan of this position so you can see. So holding this position, the closer you bring your feet to the middle, the harder it's going to be, but you want at least a little bit of space between them front to back this way. So holding that position there, we're going to move on to the rock and reach, where you're leaning forward onto that front foot and rocking back, arm comes up. Or you can keep your hand here and just reach forward and rock back with that single arm. Let's do 10 and then we'll switch our feet. Ready? 1, and then lean back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, switch and bring the other foot in front. Make sure there is at least about a foot in between your feet front to back. You want some space between them. And we'll do the same thing, reaching forward and rocking back, or you can keep one hand here and leaning forward and then raising that opposite arm as you come back. We'll count to 10. 1, lean back. 2, lean back. 3, 4, try to make your fingers wide as you do this. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, make your way back to your chair. We'll finish with some cool down stretches. Nice job with those today. Come to the front of your chair. Let's bring your posture up. Let's do a couple overhead reaches. People are almost back. A couple people are rolling up their mats. Give everyone another minute. All right, let's start with a couple overhead reaches. Reach up, inhale. Exhale, come down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Do 2 more with me. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Bring one arm across your body and pull it close towards you. We'll count to 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go ahead and clasp your hands together in the front and round your back. So your back is kind of arching like this. Pull forward. We'll hold here for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now clasp your hands behind you and pull your shoulders down to stretch out the front of your chest. Hold here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bring your ear down towards your shoulder. Make sure your shoulders are down, but they're not hiked up. And you can use the same side that you're bending to pull down. This hand can tuck behind your back. Let's hold here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Roll your neck to the other side. Switch your arm placement. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed and down, and we'll hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, stretch one knee out in front of you so that your leg is straight and your toes are pointed up. Keep your knee straight and bend at your hips until you feel a stretch on the back of your leg. And we'll hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch legs. Knees stay straight, toes are bent up, and kind of bend at your hips till you feel a stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bring that leg up across your lap. If you need to straighten out that bottom leg, you can do it that way. You want to push at your thigh to let your knee come down, and just a small bend forward. You should feel a stretch on your hip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switch legs. Comes up and across, pushing down on your leg here, and we'll hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we will finish there today. Have a great rest of your Monday. Stay cool. Make sure you're drinking enough water. And I'll see you guys next week.